Welcome to the Heart of the Equation, where analytical minds explore leadership, professional growth, and the human side of success.
This is the space for business professionals in the STEM field to reflect, grow, and redefine success on their terms.
Together, we'll dive into challenges, transformations, and stories that can help you build an authentic, purpose driven career.
Let's get this started.
Okay, welcome everyone for our episode 4. Today we are going to talk to Sara and kind of discuss her journey, her coaching work, her whole path to reinvention. I hope you've been enjoying our episodes if you've heard a couple of them that we've released before this. So we are so excited to be doing this in this circle because we talk a lot amongst ourselves, and it's so refreshing to kind of share this with the world right now. And I hope if you're liking it, do tell us some of the insights that have kind of worked for you. So without any further delay, let's get started. I'm passing it now to Anisa to kick this off.
Thank you and welcome, Sara. We
Thank
know each
you.
other since many years. And tell our audience, who is Sara?
That's a difficult question, but so my name is Sara Mobarhanfard. I am Iranian born and I became Swiss because I've been here most of my life. I'm a business coach. I mostly work with new coaches who want to start their coaching businesses on the side of their corporate jobs. Also, my journey here, I came to Switzerland, actually came to Liechtenstein for my corporate job in 2008, many years ago, before I was a student in Sweden. And it was very random, the whole journey of me coming to this country. And that's how my corporate career here in supply chain management started. But then it's a whole story. We can talk about it later. At some point, I started a fashion business, an e-commerce business, and then I quit my corporate job. I was focused on that business, and then I was doing a lot of business consulting on the side. Then I really got interested in the humans behind the businesses because I noticed there were a lot of businesses. They have the money, they have the strategy, they have everything, but things are not really working. And I was just wondering what's going on. And then I noticed it is the human. It's like everything that is going on in their world. And I got really, and I was always obsessed with philosophy and psychology anyway. I just never considered it as a serious thing, but that was time for me to actually invest in more training, and that's how I became a coach. And then at some point I slowly reduced the activities of my e-commerce business. It has also started another, I also had a digital product business on the side. So it was kind of a bit of a mess for a while, but I transitioned into full-time coaching. It's been, I think, 2 years that I'm really only doing coaching, consulting, business services, and really enjoying this. Also, I live in the mountains. I live with my husband here in the middle of nowhere in Canton St. Gallen, which I love, surrounded by nature and animals. This brings a lot of joy to me, but also it's a life of traveling. But yeah, so this is where I am. I don't know if this is who I am.
But that's so cool. I mean, maybe if I could ask this in this way, that have you, because you've done so many things, right? And I think you moved to Switzerland for that corporate job
Yeah.
and then transitioned into so many other things. So does this kind of really align with your purpose right now? Are you living your values? Have you found the thing that, you were kind of meant to do? Just take us through how this has happened, and does it really align with your values?
Yes, actually, now I can say that it's been since I started coaching, because I didn't know coaching was a job. To me, I had a very negative association with it because when I was in my corporate job, only people who were doing so badly, like really, they just didn't know how to fire them, but they were doing so bad, and they would send them to a coach to that's how I knew coaching. So the coach would kind of figure out why they're doing so bad and how to avoid the worst case scenario. So this is how I saw it. So I didn't see it as a job, but I always knew I really enjoy helping people. I was always like the one who would figure out a solution. It also, part of it, we had a family business in Iran, and my father passed away when I was 18. So my mom was running that business, and that was a successful business still around. But my mother didn't know who exactly to trust. So I was 18. So she was bringing me in. I was almost like my mom's assistant. I was doing a lot of accounting. I was doing a lot of things there. And my mom is not the kind of leader who gives you instructions. She just would throw me somewhere and just go deal with this client, go deal with this, go talk to this lawyer. And I was so young, so I kind of learned to do a lot of problem solving, and it was
Hmm.
very stressful. I don't recommend learning things that way, but I also know the situation was a little complex, and my mother kind of assumed she's 18, she's an adult, but I wasn't. So this is how I kind of learned that I can problem solve. I enjoy helping. I can lead situations. I'm capable of this type of thing. So that was always in me, but I just didn't know how to turn it into a job. But I think that the real thing happened when the pandemic happened. I had my fashion business, which was really complex because our production was in Como, north of Italy. It was one of the first places that was closed, and I didn't know how I'm going to make money. I cannot send things to clients. Post was stopped. I cannot produce things. How am I going to make money? So I started a digital product business, and it was working, and then people would coming to me for advice. It became so much that I decided to do a course, have like 70 people there to teach them how to do things because I was so tired of going on coffee chats. And I noticed, oh, this is nice. I'm enjoying this. It can make money. And up until that point, I was not really thinking about purpose. I always thought this is my field, this is my expertise, this creates income, this is good. I wasn't really happy, but I always thought something might be wrong with me that I'm not happy. But I wasn't really thinking about purpose and values and things like that up until that point. But yeah, so starting to learn about when you do coach training, they really take you to this journey. You're pushed to think about these things. Then I started to say like, oh, the reason I'm enjoying this is that that's close to my nature. This is how my values are learning and helping people, and this is like I feel at home. I feel safe. I feel relaxed. I enjoy this. So this kind of organically happened. Now I really feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. This is a feeling I didn't have for so many years, but now I kind of feel, oh, this is the right career for me. I'm not looking anywhere else. I just want to go deep in this. So yeah, I guess, yeah,
That's
this,
so beautiful because and this is also for people who are listening to us, and probably you feel this disconnect, and it's okay to feel that. Uh, if
yeah,
you continuously put yourself out, you will find it. You will find what Sarah has found. I honestly sometimes say this for myself that it's I'm still on this journey of really finding what makes me feel alive and makes me feel like I want to sit at my desk or wherever,
yeah.
kind of feel like, oh yes, this is what I was meant to do. So this is a journey, and maybe all of us are on this journey. Some reach a little bit faster, some reach a little bit later, but if you keep putting yourself out there, I think you will reach there.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, I also want to bring up this point that for some people, yes, as you say, for some people it's faster because of the life they're living. Some people have less responsibilities, like less challenges. When you're an immigrant, I don't know, when you have parent responsibilities, when you are responsible for other people, it's naturally more difficult to find this kind of so this is something I want to acknowledge is not less talked about. But when you have so many things to take care of in life, responsibilities, you have less space to really reflect on yourself. So these things might get postponed. And that was also the case for me for so many years. But
Yes.
also, the reason I could take the risk was that I had a very well-paid corporate job for so many years. I was financially in a very good place to lose some money, to not have an income for a little while, to just play around. So it was part of that, and it was something I planned. I do not recommend anyone to just, quit their life and go,
And jump in,
yeah,
yeah.
jump in it. That's not unfortunately how it works for most of us. But yes, yeah, it was a journey.
It seems that you have reinvented yourself many times.
Yes.
how was going through all that feelings, and how could you overcome those feelings or challenges?
Yeah, now actually it seems quite fashionable thing. A lot of people are reinventing themselves. A lot of things that weren't good those days are fashionable today. Like being an introvert is fashionable. Reinventing yourself, starting a business, it's all fashionable these days. You get celebrated. But when I actually made this decision, it wasn't. I actually when I quit my corporate job to focus on the fashion business, it was only my husband who knew about it. A lot of people criticized me at work when my colleagues knew, like, you're destroying your career. That's crazy. I remember when I was handing my resignation letter to my boss, he was shocked. He was like, are you crazy? That can't be. Why are you doing this to yourself? It was like a lot of that. And those days, I'm from that generation that you were not supposed to have gaps in your CV. You were not supposed to have inconsistent,
Mm-hmm.
like irrelevant career. So you work in an industry. I still, a lot of people know me as the person who worked in construction industry. After all these years, you get labeled like that. And when you change, you get criticized. So for me, I was hiding it from my mother for some months. I was hiding it from a lot of people because I just didn't have the space to get criticized and get all their sort of, preaching sessions. So it wasn't easy, but I also had learned something that I have to do what I want to do. I only live once. I cannot, if I'm making a mistake, it's my mistake. I'm taking responsibility for it. So I just did it. It was not easy. It was a lot of criticism. It was very stressful. It was constantly putting up with these people who don't take you seriously. I also had a lot of this, that when you're a man, you start a business, everyone kind of applauds you and you get celebrated. But if you're a woman, you're treated like someone who starts just a hobby.
Hobby, yeah.
Oh, and people would tell me, "Oh, but you're so lucky. Your husband has a good job. It's okay. They like, oh, poor little thing has this crazy dream." So they kind of saw it like that. It was annoying to me.
How
I'm
did you
so
overcome that? Exactly that. How did you overcome that to
I just
change
ignored
that
it.
label? Okay.
It's just people will have all kinds of opinions about you. You cannot change their mind. I just let them have their own opinion, not think so much about it. But it was annoying. It was like everywhere I was going, this was how they would kind of they would say it out of kindness. Like it was well-meaning, but it was a lot of that. I could see, like, I'm not being taken seriously, but I also would wait until the results would talk for themselves.
Yeah, yeah. It's always the results that talk from themselves. And honestly, we are not living our lives for other people, right? We're
Yeah.
living it for ourselves. And the moment you start realizing that, then it becomes like white noise. It's always
Yeah.
going to be there, but it's something that you can go through. And I think it's really, really courageous to take that step. But a lot of learnings coming from there, right? So anyone who's wanting to do kind of move into a career where they become an entrepreneur from, having a really stable job, you made sure that you were financially stable before you took that step.
Yeah.
You would have made sure, and this is my advice to everybody, and I'm sure you give it also to your clients. Let's
Yeah.
kind of get into the client segment now. But it's an advice that I would anytime give it to someone who's much younger than me, that secure yourself, have money for at least for you to get by yourself, and maybe also for your family for at least 1 year
Yes.
before you make a decision like that.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a topic I also cover a lot with clients. Fortunately, most of the clients I have, they already have corporate jobs. They also, coaching is the kind of job that you can also do it in the corporate environment. But before I work with this type of clients, I worked with at least 200 and 250 people who were not coaches. It was like all kinds of businesses, and a lot of people read these stories on the media, follow your passion and start to monetize your passion. And they're they've been told that if you follow your heart, it will work. You just, do what you love. Yes, that's true. At some point it will, but business needs a certain level of business acumen, dedication, strategy, help from other people. You don't just make money randomly by visualizing stuff and praying for it. There is a process behind it. It's a lot of that. So what I always recommend to people is like, yeah, exactly. You need to have 1 year. You need to have a solution. You need to have a proper investment system. Don't spend your pension money. I don't know if someone really feels they should, I can't stop them. But the reason for that is that when you go into financial insecurity, financial, it's like, your basic needs are not met. You're worried about how I'm going to pay my rent, how I'm going to do this and that. If something happens, where I'm going to get the money, because you put it all in your passion business, this will trigger the scarcity mindset. This will trigger you to make bad decisions. This will trigger your fears. You cannot show up with your best form of creativity. So there are a lot of things that come with that. As coaches, especially, you have to show up with clear energy. You have to otherwise you will impose it on your clients. If you have limiting beliefs or scarcity thoughts, you will scare the client. So there is a lot of that comes into the
Yeah.
equation.
That can cause
Yeah.
also like health issues, right? When you live with
Yes.
that unsafety, it can bring health issues physically and mentally as well. So it is
Yeah.
very good that you're very honest with that. So you do not encourage your clients to
No.
just leave everything and then
No.
jump to the this let's say their heart
Yeah.
business, right?
Yes, yeah. I'm lucky right now. The type of people I work with are very smart. They are already leaders. They already know much better than me how to handle their life and finances. But before that, before I let's say I start working with this type of clients, not that anyone is better or worse, but I work with kind of a range of people until I kind of find my ideal type of client. I work with artists for a while. I work with creative people, fashion people, this all kinds of businesses you can think of. And those who were very new, especially with creative businesses, they had more of this sort of wishful thinking, maybe. I don't know, maybe because they had less business experience. They kind of believed in a lot of these stories, and there were always this risk. And sometimes they were even disappointed when I was telling them, like, it doesn't work like that. You need to do this and this and this. And then sometimes actually they weren't happy to hear it. But now, after a while, it was kind of random that I started to work with more engineers, scientists. Like last year, I was working with a lot of scientists. A lot of them have MBAs. A lot of them have a business experience. So they don't have, I don't know, this sort of fantasy ideas. They're very realistic about
More
what.
grounded, right?
Yes,
More
they are more
grounded,
grounded. So
strategic. They
yeah,
need a plan. They know what is a project. Then you need to write it down. You need to have a timeline for it,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So we have less of these discussions, but we have other challenges, of course, to deal with.
But what's your opinion about the coaching industry right now? Because I feel that the market is oversaturated.
Hmm.
While it's great that it has at least moved from a taboo term, like, oh, if you have a coach, like you said before, right? If you have a coach, you're probably on a PIP program.
Yeah.
Or if you have, or like if you have a shrink, you are probably crazy. At
Yeah.
least we are all opening up to, hey, I want to be a high performing leader. And for this, I know I cannot do it alone. I need a coach. I
Yeah.
really want to lose weight. I can't do this alone. I need a coach. I need to feel mentally stable. I want to do better. And that's why I need a psychologist or a psychiatrist, whatever works for, whoever. But I think the world has kind of opened up and these stereotypes have been broken where you think almost the most negative thing about the person who wants to have some kind of guidance. But
Mm.
on the flip side, of this happening now, you also see the market oversaturated. Like honestly, I have not met as many coaches as I have after moving to Switzerland and after starting my Swiss story and kind of building a community. So, walk us through what your opinions are, because especially because you are in this industry, which is now getting quite aggressive and saturated, if I may say so.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for asking this because this is the topic that always comes up. A lot of new coaches are scared that this market is saturated. I personally don't think market is saturated because I see so many gaps. I see so many areas that people are not paying attention to. There's desperate need for coaches. That's one thing. But then there is also coaching industry is a bit of a it's a bit of a vague term because we have different types of coaches. People see not everybody understands what this is about. We have coaches who go do the proper standard training by ICF or these accreditation organizations. They have certain standards, mostly like, you need to have some kind of education around psychology. There is a way of doing it. So there is those coaches. I also got trained and got certified because, and that's a year of training at least. You go through a lot of exams and things to kind of prove that you have learned that process. So you're not going to hurt the clients. And there are a lot of ethics standards you have to follow if you do that. So these are part of the coaching industry. And then we have also this other part, everyone who's just giving advice, everyone who kind of likes to make some kind of money online, they call themselves coaches. And because this term is not regulated, everyone can call, you cannot just call yourself a doctor because it's regulated. But with coach, you can wake up tomorrow and say, like, I'm coach for this because I had a few physiotherapy sessions and that was my experience and that's what the transformation I lost 5 kilos. Now I learned how to share my experience. I'm a weight loss coach. There are a lot of people like that. No education, no kind of training, and they go through these marketing programs that teach them how to do courses. There is a way of doing that. All you need these days to be a good salesperson, unfortunately. And then you can call yourself a coach, and then it sells and it works. So we have that a lot of smoke and mirror marketing techniques, a lot of empty promises, a lot of advice that is being given that you shouldn't actually give. A lot of medical advice they're giving out, a lot of wellness advice, a lot of psychology. People are giving therapy advice they're not even qualified to. So we have that's coaching industry too. And then we have this part that I would like to be part of is like the rigor, the process, the safety standards to make sure you're not hurting the client, to make sure you're really helping a person to go from good to great. That's the other thing as well. So this part of coaching industry that is more standardized and regulated, and there is also more interest for it, is for taking you from good to great most of the time. If you have a lot of pain and trauma and things that your life is really blocked, maybe you need a therapist or you need a coach who has like some kind of education around trauma stuff. So when you work with this part of the industry, the boundaries are very clear, what you're allowed to coach about, what you're not, and how you're going to guide the clients. And then there is this other part of the coaching industry, which it looks very saturated because the entry barriers are very low. Of course, everyone can get in and just set up a website, and with spending 100 francs, you're a coach. This is so this is it. But at the same time, while coaching industry is growing, it's massively growing. It especially has been growing so fast since 2021, I think. I still think, yes, there are more coaches, but there are also so many gaps in this market.
Yeah.
That is something I can see.
Yeah,
What you're describing is, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a little bit scary what you're describing, right? It's like that I can just go and look for a coach and I can just have someone who doesn't have the experience. It's like that I, book for a surgery, I go to the hospital and someone with a certification come to open me. So what is your advice for someone who is looking for a coach? How can they find someone trustworthy and someone who has the training, how they can do this check and make sure that they are in a good hands, basically?
Yeah, it's actually pretty easy, and I'm so happy to see that the market is becoming more matured. Like a lot of the potential clients, they have been burned once with a bad coach. I've talked to so many people. They say like, I paid 5,000 to this person, and this is what they did, and this is what they told me. It didn't work, and then I look at it. It looks very unethical what had happened. everybody, including myself, we have that kind of experience. So now we also have a market who actually knows more, is more conscious. They know what red flags to pay attention to. But generally, if you firstly, I would look at the certifications. I also look at the experience of the person. You can go online and really check people these days. What is their work history? Who else they have helped? What kind of certification to have? And ICF is a very common, is the most standard certification in the coaching industry. This is what I would recommend. There are also other recognized organizations, but I would check that they have had training, because you can just give random advice to everyone. But in order to do it in the right way, you need to have certain type of training. You need to, when you get ICF certification, you have to have coached at least 100 hours, and they check it, they review it, they give you feedback. So you can't even lie about it. So when you see someone has this certification, at least you can kind of say, okay, they've done some proper work. They've been checked by mentors. But then is also when you have conversations, initial conversation, to check the chemistry, to see if they are the right person. If they push you to buy from them, I think that's a red flag. A coach should not do that. You really need to feel safe and comfortable and not really pushed. So really look at the signals in your body. If you talk to someone and you feel like, not so sure, I would reflect on it. And of course, look online, ask who else they have worked with. Sometimes I get this thing that you work with this, can I talk to one of your clients? And some of them I have the permission, some of them I don't. There's always someone they can go and just without me being there, ask for the experience.
Thank you.
I think also the content they create now, because every coach is, I think to establish credibility, it's also important that you kind of, of course, I think the basic hygiene factors, like you said, they have to be the certifications.
Yeah.
That, you've studied for this, you know what you're talking about, you've had X number of years of experience. What does your client base look like? What do you really specialize in coaching? Because there's so many different types of coaches, right? There are life coaches, and they are like, you are doing something completely different. And then there's trauma, and there's resilience, and there's so many different, there's reinvention, and there's so much over here. I heard another term, strategist, also. When they don't want to call themselves coaches, some of them call themselves strategists. So I think it's important to do your homework. And I would actually also look at the kind of content. Do you kind of resonate with it? Not saying that it's good or bad ever. But whenever, Sara, I read, say, the post that you put out on LinkedIn, and I know LinkedIn is your choice of a social media platform, I can really relate with a lot of it really resonates with me, and it probably might not resonate with everybody. And as a coach, you know that you're not for everyone. And that's why that whole concept of chemistry is so important.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, that's actually, content is one of the ways that you meet with people you don't know. Because there are also people who are not active on social media, but they're very active offline through relationships. I live in the middle of nowhere. So for me, I also have had been through the phase of commuting, doing a lot of in-person work. But really, I live in the mountains, so for me, it's just practical to meet people online. And content is like, it saves me a few train rides. So this is really, yes, if someone kind of reads that stuff and say like, I resonate with that, or also no, I'm not so sure. This is how I think. This is also something people can judge you based on, because if you don't resonate with their values, the content that someone creates shows a little bit of their vibe. I also see, there are coaches who are so focused on the business coaches who are so income. I'm not saying income is a bad thing, but a lot of those who kind of like make 10K, create a 6-figure business, you're a 6-figure woman. I don't really like that. I also think maybe in Switzerland we don't like to show off
brag about
money, and I just find it not good taste. But people can also judge that. Some people like that kind of content, so they can go work with those coaches. And there are others who are like, there are other things that come to play when you want to grow a business. and they would resonate with my content. That is less of that. I still talk about income and things like that, but not so, loudly. So this is also my vibe, my energy, my style of, doing things.
I just agree with Pragati as well. The content that you're creating, and Sarah, I told you many times you're one of my favorite business coach
Oh, thank you.
because you're not in the world of fantasy, of course, you highlight the planning, the important knowledge and a strategy for a business. And from the other side, you're very human based. So you're very, very compassionate. I have seen I work with you, as a business coach. You're so compassionate, so encouraging, and you provide that really safe space, because when there is no safe space and there is that pushy, energy, that very big masculine energy, the person feels burnout, right? There are many people that start that business of coaching, and because of not, let's say, trained or compassionate coaches, they just give up or they go to the burnout. So I think one of your big qualities, of course, have that setup that probably is coming from your STEM background, and then have that compassion, understanding of the human, right? Saying that, I want to ask you the next question that I see many of my friends, right? Many people now they want to reinvent themselves. Many of them are coming from a STEM. They are scientists, they're engineers, working in university or working in technology or pharma, and they want to reinvent themselves. What are your advices, and where can they start? Sometimes I see that they do not even know, okay, I want to reinvent myself. How can I start to doing that?
There are actually two things. Firstly, you reinvent your professional identity, basically, your personal brand, because you are yourself. It's just you don't have access to some of your qualities. Maybe you don't know yourself well. There are two things. One is that I think what is the purpose of doing this? If you want to reinvent yourself, you probably have some potential that you think didn't get the chance to show up. Maybe you want to achieve your full potential. You want to show up better. You have some kind of idea, but you can't access it easily. I think starting a journey of self-awareness, knowing your genius, knowing it's not just your strength, but what life learnings I have, what transferable skills I have, what brings joy to me. But then at the same time, I'm also very good at performing. I can create results. Finding that sort of unique edge about you, that is really the part I would spend enough time on it to make sure you find something that makes sense for you. And you can also create more impact there, because I can also, in an example, I really like gardening. I really like plants. I never succeed. I love it, but I'm so bad at it. I just have never been able to keep a tree more than 6 months. I kill them for some reasons. So this is my passion and joy, but I have no talent or expertise there. I can't do a gardening business probably. Let's be honest. But, so for everybody has that kind of sweet spot, that there is life learnings, experiences, joys, strengths, and also some weird qualities that look weird, but they actually can help. Like you could be like a, I don't know, ADHD person, but you could be really good at certain things. So you can bring all of that, and that could become your genius. Find that first. So it takes a lot of discussion and coaching and therapy and traveling, sometimes doing different things, giving yourself the space to experiment. So this is one thing. But then I also don't want people to wait until they know their genius, because it might take 6 months, a year, 2 years. In the meantime, what you can do that would help with anything is to create the space to raise your voice, to create a personal brand for yourself, start sharing your unique insight, start finding the courage, and that is the part a lot of people struggle with. Share your opinion, share your unique insight, start a topic to talk about. This way you establish yourself as an expert, as a thought leader, as someone who has something to say and has the courage to talk about it. Start doing that, find your platform. It's going to be uncomfortable. Tap into your courage. Just do it. Start with that, and then on the side work on finding your genius, and then at some point you're not going to lose anything if you do this.
that will show up then one day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we can talk for hours.
Yeah.
But I think, Sarah, you've given such amazing advice for anyone who's kind of thinking about doing something else or even getting into the coaching industry, and for people who want to have coaches, right? What could something like a coaching environment look like? So any last words from your side? And one of the questions that I wanted to ask you somewhere in the middle is break one coaching myth that your clients have. I think one of it for sure for me is like they want instant success, just like everything is instant in this world at this time.
Mm.
Uh, so yeah, maybe your last final words while we wrap this up, and also a myth that you'd want to break that people expect from coaches all the time, and business coaches specifically.
Yeah. Yes, thank you for asking. And exactly as you said, business coaching, there's no magic. Even if you go find, I don't know, Tony Robbins or some really famous person, thinking that you spent like so much money on someone to do magic for you, a guaranteed result, that doesn't exist. Business and career are things that always involve other people. So there are a lot of dynamics. But what happens is that you doing it faster, it's a more efficient way because you kind of have another person involved in the process. So it's a different space of thinking that you create when you work with a coach or mentor. I'm more of a coach consultant mentor. I do a lot of things because with business, you need a lot of support. But really, there's no magic, there's no overnight success. You need to be realistic about it, but you also need to take responsibility that I'm doing this together and I'm getting the right support, but I'm leading the process.
Yes.
This is the myth that there is no overnight success. There is no guarantee. Everyone is on their own timeline. Someone does it in 3 months. Someone does it in 1 year.
No shortcuts.
Yeah, exactly. You have to do the work. Yes, and also something I want to add is that I know we live in everybody is talking about no hustle, do it the feminine, easy way. You can't just sit down and wait for the result. You have to do the work. There's going to be discomfort. There's going to be moments that are not so easy, but you will survive and you will find ways of actually thriving in those situations. You just need to want it so badly.
So amazing. I mean, I think for our listeners, you have now heard, I hope you have heard the 3 stories of us. Like, we've kind of really spilled out whatever we could and talk about our journeys. And if I could end it at that note, and nothing has actually come easy. You've heard us, and while we make it look easy, but nothing's really been easy, right? There's no shortcut. Like Anisa said, there's absolutely no shortcut. You have to kind of work. Of course, build a support system around yourself. It's extremely important, especially in entrepreneurship or jobs when you're coaching. It can get really very isolating. But build your support system and know that there's a lot of work that you have to put in, whether you're in a corporate job, whether you are, pursuing a hobby and making it your career or your coaching or whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. Totally agree. But it's going to be fun work. That's all I can say. You'll enjoy it. You work hard, but you enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's true. Have your network and have your support. I think it's very important, as Pragati said.
Yeah.
And you feel supported, in the difficult times, and then you can go further. That is the secret. So I think we are coming to the end of this episode 4. Thank you so much, Sara.
Thank you, ladies,
for coming and telling us about you.
Yes,
It's a
there was
blessing.
something that we didn't know, right?
Yeah.
I always discover new things when we are talking like this.
Interviewing, right?
Yeah,
Thank you
I
so
think
much,
so.
Sara.
I feel so blessed to have you. Thank you so much, ladies. And thank
Thank
you to everyone
you.
who's listening.
See you in the next episode.
See you in the next episode. Bye.
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 Thanks for listening to The Heart of the Equation. If this episode has sparked something for you, we'd love to hear about it.
Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and connect with us on LinkedIn and Instagram to continue the conversation.
And if you know someone who is navigating their next career step, share this episode with them. It could be exactly what they need.
We see you next time as we explore more about leading with purpose, resilience, and authenticity.
Let's keep growing together.